What if you were involved in an emergency and law enforcement didn't know how to reach your loved ones? 3 easy steps can make a difference. Go to toinformfamiliesfirst.org on your computer or mobile device. Enter your driver's license number followed by who you want notified. In the event of an emergency, law enforcement can make notification in minutes. It's just that simple. It takes less than 2 minutes to register your contact information. Do it today. Your family is counting on you.
Ironically enough, it took me less than 2 minutes to do it. So, Christine, thank you for being here. I'm Kate Bays, here with Christine Olson, founder of TIFF's initiative. Just a couple of seconds, less than a minute, to register your license to make sure that in the event of an accident, your family can find you. The average, you said, Christine, 6 hours for law enforcement to report to a family that something critical has happened. And that's where this all stemmed. 16 years ago, you experienced this and you made change happen because of it. So tell us about your initiative. Tell us about the story that changed your life.
First and foremost, Kate Bays, let me thank you so much for this opportunity to share my story again. And I can't tell you how many times I've shared this story because it's been, like you said, December 7th of 2021 will be 16 years from the night that did change my life, but most importantly, also it changed history. So this story begins December 7th of 2005. My 22-year-old daughter, Tiffany Marie Olson, was northbound with her boyfriend, Dustin, on a motorcycle, going from Bradenton, Florida, going toward Clearwater. They were on a motorcycle, and a lot of people, all of a sudden, they take this breath, oh, a motorcycle. There's a lot of motorcyclists out there. But Dustin was, 7 years her senior. And I say Dustin came out of the womb on a bike. He raced him, he jumped him, and Tiffany loved Dustin, so they rode. On this Wednesday evening, they both worked their 9-to-5 job. They got together after work, and they got on the motorcycle, and they were going to Clearwater to kind of a Wednesday night bike night. And, people get together, they socialize, they have a bite to eat, and then get back on their bikes, come home, and start another day the next day. But on this evening, things were going to change, and they were, like I said, northbound. And at 7:01 p.m., a drunk driver pulled into the intersection where Tiffany and Dustin were traveling and hit the motorcycle. They were drunk drivers, and Tiffany was thrown 93 feet, broke her neck on impact. Dustin went down with the motorcycle, lived about a half hour, and then passed away. And as I speak right now, I go back into that night, and it takes your breath away because I'm reliving this all over again. I see these images, so it's very hard for me to even talk about this again. But like I said, that accident, she's pronounced 7:01 p.m. And at 11 p.m., the local newspaper had their story in print. Now, they did not use names of those deceased. They can't do that, but they said 2 killed, motorcycle crash, Bradenton, Florida. Sure. This is 11 o'clock p.m. Tiffany is killed at 7:01. 11 p.m., stories in print. Where is Christine? Where is her mother? I'm at home watching TV. I am literally sitting on my couch, having my hot tea, probably a little piece of chocolate because that's my gig. The movie ends at 11 o'clock. I remember it was a movie on Pope John Paul. It was an awesome movie. I turn off the TV. I go to bed. You find that little sweet spot in your bed. You snuggle in. And about 11:15, my phone rings. And I thought, who calls you at this time of night? I mean, really, it's not even telemarketers, And I was hesitant about answering. I was going to let it go to voicemail, but there was something in my gut that said, get up and answer the phone. So I did. It was my 29-year-old son, Derek, and he says, Mom, she's been hurt in an accident. Get to Manatee Memorial. Yeah. Now listen, pick up on these words. She's been hurt in an accident, get to Manatee Memorial. Not that she's dead, she's hurt.
Right.
Don't ask questions. I'll meet you at the hospital. So literally, Kate, I don't even know if I got dressed. Sure. I don't know. I jumped in my car. I met Derek at the hospital at the entrance of the emergency room. I run in. I said, I'm looking for Tiffany Marie Olson. She's been involved in an accident. Mm-hmm. The hospital looked at me and they said, well, she's not here. And I says, well, she's been hurt in an accident.
Where is she?
Can you check with another hospital? And they said at the time, 2005, because of the HIPAA law, we don't do that. As your listeners are listening to this, I want you to look at your family. Think about your family, your husbands, your wives, your moms, your dads, your best friends. We don't do that. They ushered me to a room and they said, you can check on that phone, which, believe it or not, was still the phone on the wall that you had to dial out. So you dial and it's an operator. What number, please? And I'm like, I don't know. So you go into panic mode.
Sure.
And I'm sure I'm already there. So we were trying to figure things out. And I want to think, or say rather, that there was a security guard, a woman. I can kind of see her, but she knew the panic that was going on. And I want to say she's the one that called Highway Patrol. It wasn't the hospital. So I asked the hospital, I said, can you call the police? And they said, well, we don't know where it happened. We don't know the county. We don't know anything. We're an emergency room. That's not what we're supposed to do. So I was left literally just alone with my son to try and figure this out. 1:30 in the morning. Tiffany is killed at 7:01. 1:30 in the morning. I'm so drained from crying.
Sure. And
I'm standing outside the emergency room entrance. Derek is on my left-hand side. He's 29 at the time. And Highway Patrol pulls into the parking lot. And Derek just looked and he collapsed and started crying. And I said, not Tiffany, not Tiffany. And they approached me very casually and they said, sorry, she's gone. And I thought, well, like to Tampa or St. Pete? I mean, I don't even know what you're saying exactly. And if I remember nothing, Kate, I remember the shrug of a shoulder. And he says, well, no, I presume she's at the medical examiner, but they're closed. You can call them in the morning. Can you sign for this? And it was a plastic bag with her belongings in it. And they sent me home. Oh, there you go. And I just looked at Derek and I'm in shock, I'm sure. And I just said, I have to get gas. And he's like, Mom. And I said, I have to go. So I drove home with my daughter's belongings. You can see I didn't bring a tissue with me. But I drove home and I sat up all night until I felt it was a reasonable hour to call someone. And that would have been my pastor at the church that I attended. And you don't call anybody in the middle of the night. You have to wait till a reasonable hour. That was my thinking back then. But anyway, so that was that night. But what I just want to point out, the length of time was 6.5 hours.
Right. I
have come to find out that's a national average. 6 hours is a national average. Sometimes much longer, sometimes shorter, but that's an average. And I just want to say to your listeners, are you willing to wait that length of time to find out someone you love has been hurt in an accident or a medical emergency? I hope not. So.
And you turned that tragic night into something, you changed the world with this.
Well, it's on its path to that. So I honestly don't remember timelines. I don't remember a lot of that. I don't know why, but I don't. But because you're planning a funeral, you don't even know if you're going to speak at the church. Are you going to, talk about your daughter? I don't even know. I'm still in shock. You have people pouring into your house.
Right.
People are making dinners for you. They're coming to you. They're giving condolences. And literally, I'll tell you, you see a mouth move.
Sure.
but you don't even hear words. You just nod and you go about, you just live, you just exist. But somewhere we got through the funeral, and she was cremated and her ashes were put out in the Gulf of Mexico. I live on Anna Maria Island, so that's where our whole family kind of, hung out and stuff. So, right. But somewhere in the days, weeks, months, I don't know, an idea popped up.
Right.
And the idea said that Tiffany didn't have her purse with her, but she had her license in her pocket.
Right.
What if there was a way to do something with a driver's license? What if there was a way to do something and put emergency contacts in there? I don't know. I'm a server at a restaurant on Anna Maria. I don't know government things. I don't know law enforcement things, but I have an idea. So I asked people, I said, what do you think about that? And people said, on the island, 7 Mile Long Barrier Island, oh my God, that's amazing.
Right.
Let's start a petition drive.
Yes.
Well, I don't own a computer. How do you make a petition? People, the cook in the kitchen at the Rod and Reel, Captain John, he made the petition. The petitions went mad. People were making copies. People were going door to door, getting petitions. Let's get this done.
Yes.
So that's your action step. So shortly after that, I took it to Bill Galvano's office. He was my state representative back then. And that was the first time I've ever been in my whole life, been in a representative's office. I don't know nothing about this, but I went and I told him my idea. And them are those moments that you remember. And he looked at me and he said, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Right.
He takes it to Florida Highway Safety Motor Vehicles in Tallahassee, Florida. State of Florida said, why haven't we done this?
Yes.
We're doing this immediately. That's interesting. We're doing this immediately. State of Florida recognized this as a solution to the national average of 6 hours and the length of times and for law enforcement to track down someone to notify in your emergency.
Right.
So October 2nd, 2006, not even a year after Tiffany was killed, I was the first person literally at Bill Galvano's office. They had the databases ready. They sat me in front of a computer. And let me tell you, I was so scared because all the cameras are on you. All law enforcement's lined up. Government officials are. And they said, do it. We're about to change history. That moment was changing history. So I put my emergency contacts in and I was so scared. And they said, hit enter. And I thought, oh my gosh, okay. And I did it. And I went in as #1 in the world to register my emergency contacts with my Florida driver's license. Kate, let me be proudly the person to tell you, currently we are at 19 million registered in the state of Florida alone.
That's wonderful.
19 million. From one mother that said something's wrong. Better than that, we have 15 states that we know of. There may be others because they're seeing the example that Florida started.
Right.
Including emergency contacts and a license. And these other states are like, we're going to do that too. Right. So they don't contact me and say, hey, we're going to do that too. They just do it.
Good.
So 15 states that we know of. And interesting enough, when I spoke to you, we noticed that Pennsylvania is on that list.
Yes.
Kate,
I'm on that list.
It took you literally, what, like you said,
30 seconds. And now should anything happen to me, my family will know. Very important. Simple step. And then the advocacy, passing it on. I passed it on to all of my family, friends. I noticed that I have family in a state where it wasn't listed and pass it on to them and others there. Maybe they can advocate for it being a part of their state as well. So simple,
it's so
like
easy.
Everyone can help, right? Everyone can help. I'm going to include the links where you can sign up One, or two, note if your state isn't listed there and take steps to make that happen. Simple steps to make that happen.
You know, if one mother who is a server at a restaurant can literally be used to change the world, we all have a role in this. You know, I don't know how this all works, but like you said, you're including the links. The state of Florida has done a PDF for the states that are not on board as of yet. When and that link will be included.
Correct.
But all you do is you take that PDF to your state representative, a police chief, a sheriff, and say, look, Florida's doing this. My family lives here. How do we get this started in my state? And let them, now you don't have to do this. Right. The person listening doesn't do it. That person that works for you in the state where, you know, you're living, they are paid by your tax dollars, right? So your sheriffs, your representatives, your senators, all these people are paid by, they're your worker bees. I have family here. We need this done in my state. Let's get this done. Yes. Then they contact Florida and they say, Florida, tell us how to do this. Yeah. Florida walks them through it. Here's your PDF. Here are your steps. And it's not a money issue. Don't let your state play that card and say, well, we don't have money for such a thing. It cost our state of Florida literally $10,000. Okay? Literally $10,000 to implement a program that is saving over 19 million people's lives in the event of an accident or medical emergency, saving law enforcement 6 hours of their time. Now, you, in Tiffany's accident, that's not one police officer on a bicycle responding to her accident.
Right.
We hear as many as 15 counties, 15 law enforcement people are coming in. Highway patrols, the sheriffs, the police departments, detectives, victims advocates. You have all these different people coming in. Right. You have just all this stuff. You're saving 6 hours of their time.
Sure.
Where they could be responding to another emergency of some sort. And like in the PSA that showed in the beginning of this, once you've registered, literally they take that license, scan it like a credit card, and who you've listed as your emergency contact. If Christine is hurt in an accident, contact this person on my behalf. That's all it is.
Right.
You're just giving them the information they need to know who you want contacted.
Right.
And, you know, this is the 15th anniversary of the concept of TIFF. So 16 years since Tiffany was killed, but 15 years since the concept even came into reality, with the state of Florida being number one. And as you can see, the name of this show is called Scattering Seed. So with my marketing people, which are few, there's not a big company or anything. Our aim is to scatter seeds of solution across the United States of America. Right. And everybody can help in this. Yeah. So first and foremost, you know, if it's in your state, register. Then can you share it with 5 people? Will you share it with 5 people today? Ask them to register and share it with 5. That's a great way to scatter seeds.
Agreed.
If it's not in your state, let's get it in there. I'm available for help. I mean, just, you can find me online in that. Mm-hmm. You know, and I mean, I don't have all the answers, but collectively we can. I'm looking for people that want to write for national magazines. Let's get this story in the national magazines, national news media, you know, bigger networks. Let's get it out to the people that have, you know, that can literally say, hey, get it done in my state. Mm-hmm. So that's the 15th year goal for me. And I wanted to just kind of add in this, who benefits from TIFF? Who benefits from being registered with TIFF's initiative? So in the beginning, a lot of people say it, you know, the state of Florida was saying tragedy. It's not for a tragedy. It's not when you're killed. It's when there's an emergency and I verbally cannot speak to you. What comes to mind, Kate? Heart attack, stroke,
Right.
falls.
Right.
I'm running from a hurricane. Maybe I'm down. You just went through a big situation in Pennsylvania with the remains of Ida. There was floodings. There was, people being washed away in rivers and that. So senior citizens, first-time drivers. What about dementia? What about dementia? That's another one. I don't know who my emergency contact is. What about, we mentioned that, the senior citizens that live alone.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, like in the state of Florida, you have snowbirds or you have seniors that retired in Florida and their families are in another state.
Right.
How would law enforcement find them? How would law enforcement how does law enforcement know who to contact on your behalf? And they don't unless you provide that. So it's not just for accidents. It's in my brain. I say it's for every single person on this planet.
Sure.
Everybody can benefit in some realm. We talked before we went on camera with kids that are in after school activities. So, be it sports events or whatever, my girlfriend down the street, Mimi, her kids are all involved in sports. Mm-hmm. And before her children carpool with another person, she asked, have you registered emergency contacts? Because my kids can't get in your car until you have registered. They need to know what's going on. So, the big thing is with this is I'm just looking for help. I'm looking for help in whatever realm is comfortable in your world. Kate, you are a speaker, you are a podcaster, and you're good on technology. So everybody has a gift. Everybody can do something, but register, tell 5, that's a great starting point.
I love it. I love it. Simple steps, simple calls to action, simple ways to advocate, to get involved. And it's benefiting you.
It is.
Like you said, there's no person who this
couldn't
impact, right? Help.
Yeah.
So,
and and I'll just since I see we have just a minute, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I have family there. And my sister Barbara, who was 72 at the time, June 26, 2018, finally, it's nice in Milwaukee. She lives on the lakefront. She goes out with a friend for an early dinner, and they're walking. And on their way home, she stumbles and she falls and she hits her head. She said she kind of bounced up after that. She was a little bit embarrassed. Maybe it was an uneven sidewalk or something. I don't know. But luckily, there was a police officer across the street, and he came over to her and said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm actually a little embarrassed by all this." And he said, "No, I'm calling an ambulance." And she's like, "Well, I don't need an ambulance. I'm fine. I'm going home. I live a half a block away. I'm fine." Mm-hmm. He said, "No, you're not." Her head was swelling. She had a brain bleed.
Wow.
She collapsed right there. They rushed her to the emergency room at St. Mary's Hospital. She had to undergo emergency brain surgery to release the pressure of the brain bleed. She's unconscious, on life support. 3-day notification to her daughter 1 hour away.
Oh, 3 days later.
3 days. Now, you ask, how is that possible? Barbara has older children. I won't say senior, older children. Mm-hmm. My son lives down the street. I don't talk to him every day. Right. I might talk to him every couple of days, every 3 days or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't unusual for Cindy not to talk to her mom and not hear from her. It just wasn't no big deal. Mm-hmm. So 3-day notification. It was a Tuesday. It happened on a Saturday. I was notified Tuesday, flew out Wednesday. And my sister did survive, which was a miracle. But I just want people to know this is not just a little idea. This is nothing that, oh, is it relevant to me? You're darn right it's relevant to you. It's relevant to every single person listening to this. And this podcast also is going to be available and be a great podcast for you to show to your women's group maybe, or whatever you can do. I have a mentor, a SCORE mentor, and I shared this with Kate before we went live, but he came up with a quote for TIFF, and his quote, that's John Stewart, you need it until you need it.
Yeah.
And if you're not registered, that's the deal. So that's my story. And it won an international award to take it around the globe. But that's going to take advocacy. That's going to take people getting on board. That's going to be champions of change that are not afraid to step up to the plate and say, Christine, how do we get involved in my own state or community? It's been recognized by Harvard University as one of the top 50 government innovations in the country. Well, being recognized for that kind of thing is one thing. What are we going to do with this solution? What are we going to do? Collectively, what are we going to do? So,
well, let's do it. We know what we can do. We know what we can do.
Yeah.
So I'll include all the links. I'll include all the information. Let's get it out to our 5. Let's make sure we're signing up. Let's make sure that 6 hours don't go by, 3 days don't go by before we hear, something awful has happened to one of our family members. Christine,
and it's really, you got this whole COVID thing. People are being rushed into emergency rooms. Some of them are unresponsive. True. The hospitals in Bradenton, Florida are getting involved in making sure patients. So if you work for a hospital, let's get it into your hospital or whatever. So, everybody can do something. I'm just so grateful for people like you, Kate, that see the importance of sharing this story and stepped up to the plate and said, let me get this out there too. So there you go.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate you being with me.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you.
No problem. So folks, I'm just going to wrap by saying that I appreciate your time and tuning in, and maybe you're a small business or a nonprofit or whatever the case may be, and you're looking for help getting your story out or promoting. I want you to know that I'm here. Reach out. Kate Bays, my company is Virtual Agility, and reach out on LinkedIn, follow, subscribe. We appreciate you being with us, and we'll see you again soon.